How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Connor's Corner and the first episode of the Corner News. My name's Connor, and pretty much what this segment is going to be about is any of the hockey news from the past week. So that can be from trade rumors, injury suspensions, fantasy hockey, coaches being fired, any of this news, and definitely more. We will be breaking it down here on the Corner News. If you guys are excited for the video and the channel, make sure to hit the like button and share this with your friends. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, let's start with trade rumors. So, I personally love trade rumors. I'm sure you do too. I'm always excited about them when I hear them. And before we get into these trade rumors, I just want to let Maple Leaf fans know, personally, I still think Nylander will be signed by the Maple Leafs. I don't see them trading him. I think it's in Nylander's best interest and the Leafs' best interest to get a deal somewhere, find common grounds. But I do think Nylander will still sign with the Maple Leafs. But it's fun. As a Bruins fan, it's fun to talk about this, and there's still a small possibility. So I still think he will be signing with the Maple Leafs, but you never know. So Elliot Friedman in Sportsnet said that the top team in on William Nylander are the Carolina Hurricanes. Apparently, they are all in on him, and I could see why it could work for both teams. The Hurricanes sport a deep blue line, and which, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people's opinion, the Leafs definitely need. A possible trade that I could see working would be Justin Falk or Brett Pesce and a 2019 Carolina Hurricanes second for Nylander. Personally, I think Brett Pesce is a very underrated defenseman. He's more defensive-minded, and I think that's what the Leafs need. Falk would be a good option, but again, he's more offensive-minded, like Morgan Riley, Jake Gardner. I think the Leafs kind of need a defensive defenseman like Brett Pesce would be. So I could kind of see that deal working out. The Hurricanes, I think, need some more star power on the forward side of things, and I think this trade could work out well for both teams. Still, I think, like I said 3 times already, I think Nylander will sign with the Maple Leafs, but this is a trade that I could see working if he were to get traded. Other 2 names on the list, Sergei Bobrovsky and Artemi Panarin. These guys have kind of been in trade conversations with fans. I'm not sure how much with GMs, but definitely with fans and analysts since the time of John Tavares in the free agent frenzy with John Tavares. That's when I started hearing things. And it makes sense. I think that one of these guys were to get traded. I think the more likely player to get traded is Artemi Panarin. Apparently, Bobrovsky and the Blue Jackets are working on a contract. That's what I heard anyways. And Artemi Panarin is a player that I also heard might want to go elsewhere. So I think Bobrovsky will stay Columbus Blue Jacket, and Artemi Panarin definitely has a chance to go elsewhere. The New York Rangers were the option when I heard, but that was more for the free agent side of things. If he gets that far, I think the Blue Jackets would definitely have to trade him before the deadline after they've seen what happened with the New York Islanders and John Tavares. So those are kind of the big names that I've got on the list. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below on these 3 big names. And it's always interesting with trade rumors. They rarely happen. These trades rarely go through. Most likely they're going to sign with their teams. But you never know. It's definitely fun to discuss them. So those are the 3 names. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's get on to injuries and suspensions. Okay, so the first 2 names, I kind of did the research a couple days ago, so I don't know how up-to-date it is. Charlie McAvoy, Max Pacioretty, and then on the suspension side of things, Milan Lucic. Let's start with Charlie McAvoy. McAvoy has missed, I believe it's been 6 or 7 games he's missed. I've had him in my fantasy pool, and it hurt to have to trade him as a Bruins fan. I just traded him today for Dougie Hamilton. But McAvoy, he had a pretty good start to the year, and then he got injured, and the Bruins just recently placed him on the injury reserve, so I don't know how long he's going to be out for. Apparently, he's supposed to resume skating in the next couple of days, if he hasn't already. But it definitely is a big loss for the Bruins. Hopefully, he will be back soon, and hopefully for my fantasy team, I'll have him back soon as well. Max Pacioretty from the Vegas Golden Knights. I just realized that Pacioretty just played last night, so let's skip right over him. On the injury side of suspension side of things, Milan Lucic. So I was watching this game as it happened. It was a really physical game. For a good section of it, was definitely physical. And Joseph, I think from the Lightning, went after Chris Russell in the corner, and Joseph kind of went after him, but Russell turned his body enough. It's still his head still hit the glass pretty violently. And Joseph didn't get a penalty, and he didn't deserve a penalty. It was more of Chris Russell, his movement, that caused an injury, and Russell did get back up, and he played the rest of the game. But the rest of the Oilers and Lucic obviously didn't like the hit by Joseph. It was a clean hit, but obviously you're not going to like a hit if he takes out one of your guys. So, then Lucic went right after Joseph. He was pretty much looking for him the whole shift, and then he dropped him. And then I think what he is getting a hearing for is this punch, the sucker punch sort of on Joseph, still with his glove on when he wasn't expecting it. So, that, I think, is why he did have a phone hearing, and I'm not sure. And apparently, he just got fined $10,000, which is the maximum he can get fined. So I just found out that before the video started. So Milan Lucic is fined $10,000 for the punch on Joseph. Let's get into fantasy hockey. I kind of touched on it with the Mcavoy situation earlier. I've got 3 names here on the board, and the percentage is the percentage that they are owned in CBS Sports fantasy leagues. So T.Meire 88%, S.Girard 34%, and V.Dunn 48%. You guys might be asking, why is T.Meire on this board if he is up at 88%? Well, it's for the people, for the 12% of people that don't have him in their league. If he's not in the league, you gotta pick him up. He's having a breakout year. He had 21 goals last year, so it's not like he just went from like a William Karlsson, like 4 goals all the way up. He hasn't just skyrocketed like that. It has been a pretty good increase over the last couple of years. So 21 goals last year. He's already at 12 this year. So T.Meire is definitely having a breakout season, and I don't see it slowing down. I traded him for Max Pacioretty a couple of days ago. I think that's going to work out well for me, and he was still available in my pool, so I picked him up. And for the 12% of people that he is available in your guys' pool, I would definitely consider picking him up. The defensive side of things, we've got S.Girard and V.Dunn. So V.Dunn is owned in more leagues than S.Girard is, but let's start with S.Girard. He's owned in 34% of CBS Sports league, and I'm probably going to be doing this for every video where I involve fantasy, is having the percentage in there. I think it gives you guys a good idea on how popular he is and how other people think he's going to do. So he is owned in 34% of leagues. And this guy had a bit of a slow start. He's playing top 4 minutes in the second line power play. So he had a bit of a slow start, but I think he is going to turn it on. He's a great skater, a smaller guy, but a great pickup in the Matt Duchene trade by the Avalanche. I think he's definitely going to pick it up. And if you guys do have a deep pool, definitely consider picking up S.Girard. And the last name on the list is V.Dunn. This guy is owned in almost half of the leagues. He's owned in 48% of fantasy leagues. This guy, I think, is another very underrated defenseman. He had a pretty good year last year, and I think he's just going to improve on that over the next couple of years. Pietrangelo has had a rough start to the season without a goal, and I think he's only had like 6 assists. So definitely V.Dunn has had to help out his play, or has to pick up his play in the absence of Pietrangelo. And also Colton Parayko has done pretty well. I didn't put him on the list because he is pretty, he's owned in a good amount of leagues, but Colton Parayko and V.Dunn, both from St. Louis, are players that you guys definitely should think of picking up. And the big part of the video, this one came, I believe it was yesterday, I heard about it at school, is Joel Quenneville was fired by the Chicago Blackhawks. This definitely surprised me. I mean, come on, we're like 14 games in, I think the Blackhawks have played, and this kind of just shocked me. I did not see this coming at all. It wasn't the best start to the year for the Blackhawks, but I mean, 14 games in the season, how are you going to fire a guy after 14 games? I think it was pretty much a stupid move by Stan Bowman in the front office by the Blackhawks. I didn't like the move at all after 14 games. This guy got you 3 cups, and you're just going to fire him after 14 games. I know they're probably looking at last year as well, but I don't know. I don't think it's fair for Joel Quenneville to be fired after 14 games, especially after the team that they've given him. It's not a bad team. It's not a great team. At least give him a bit more time. I would even give him until the halfway point to see how the Blackhawks are playing. Because this, in my opinion, was just way too early. And I think it goes for all coaches. I mean, in the NHL especially. I mean, the other leagues, they wait a bit longer to fire their coaches. NHL, we're only 14 games in the season. 2 coaches have already been fired. And it happened again last year as well. So, personally, I'm not a fan of how fast teams are firing their coaches. But that's just my preference. Let me know your guys' preferences and opinions down below. That's gonna do it for the first episode of the corner news. Next week, it's gonna be out every Wednesday. So next week we'll probably have different topics, maybe even some of the same. But we're definitely gonna have interesting topics on the show, from news articles and books coming out, from movies and documentaries you guys can watch. I'll let you guys know all about that as well, and any kind of hockey news that's going around, including the things I talked about today. That's going to be it. And if you guys did want to get yourself one of these Connor Corner stickers, please let me know. We will be talking about these in the next episode next video on Saturday. I'll let you guys know how you guys can get one of these. And we will also be having a giveaway for a shirt coming up, and maybe even a Connor Corner jersey in the future if I do get my hands on one of those. So that's going to be it, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like at the bottom of the screen and share this video with your friends. My name's Connor, and until next time, see you guys on Saturday.